Everyone, I'm Dino Bidala, and welcome to tonight's Dino Bidala Show on Sirius XM Channel 127, Friday, April 2nd. As always, I'm here to be your MBFF. A lot of breaking news today, but the big story we're going to cover on my show is Major League Baseball announcing that they're going to pull the All-Star game scheduled for July from Georgia in response to the Georgia GOP's Jim Crow-era voter suppression law. I just want to clear up one quick thing. You have some people now on cable news parsing the provisions of the law passed by the Republicans in Georgia and going, well, it's not exactly Jim Crow law. Two things. First of all, it seems they have no idea of history because the Jim Crow laws did not say on their face when it regards to voting, the poll tax or the literacy tax, the literacy test or grandfather clause. It didn't say black people couldn't vote. On their face, they were racially neutral. In the application, they were discriminatory by design. So first, that's the commonality between these new laws like banning mobile voting devices, vote like vans that move around and drive people up so they can vote in Fulton County, which was used there, a county that's predominantly black and brown. Well, they banned it. It's the only county it was being used in. That's why. Second, the goal of the Georgia GOP laws today are exactly like the Jim Crow voting suppression laws. They have the same identical goal, preserving white power. That's it. There's no denying. So you want to parse through, is it exactly like Jim Crow? No, the real difference is violence. The time of Jim Crow, it wasn't just these laws. The conservatives used violence as well, and thankfully we're not there. I hope we never get there. But today, Major League Baseball, the commissioner announced that they're moving the game from Georgia in July. And he had a great statement saying they had discussions with people in their organization, player association, said the best way to demonstrate our values as a sport by relocating this year's All-Star game in Major League Baseball draft. And they've taken a really principled stand here. And, not everyone in Georgia happy. Even Stacey Abrams has concerns. There's going to be people, the very people who are trying to protect their right to vote might lose economically here some of the jobs it would have had, or at least working on the day of the Major League Baseball All-Star game. But what if you wonder, can professional and corporate boycotts play a role in changing laws? Let me give you an example from recent times. In 2016, a little background, the city of Charlotte, their city council passed a rule that protecting the LGBT community, especially transgender Americans, for their right to use the bathroom of their choosing, that it corresponds with their own gender identity. Well, the GOP and the state legislature were outraged because demonizing anyone not like them is what the GOP is about. We see it right now with our anti-transgender laws across this country. But at the time, they passed a law that said you could only use the bathroom of your gender, and also banning local communities and cities from passing any laws to protect people against discrimination based on their sexual orientation or gender identity. The result was, that time, the NBA said they're pulling their All-Star game, which they did. You had NCAA basketball tournament said we're not going to have events there. People from Bruce Springsteen to even Maroon 5 canceled events. Corporate events were canceled. Conventions were canceled. For a year, it was economic pain to the city of Charlotte. I mean, to the state of Charlotte, but the state of North Carolina, but especially the city of Charlotte, obviously. And it wasn't, the city of Charlotte was trying to do the right thing. They were sadly caught in this situation. You had fighting for the rights of people, and then people in Charlotte were suffering. Well, it took a year of that, and finally they repealed the bulk of the law. And NBA came back a year later and had their All-Star game, and businesses have gone back. So the point is, it can work. It has to be a concerted effort. It can't just be Major League Baseball. It must be other professional athletes. It must be sports stars, singers, musicians, bands, everyone, well-known comedians, not to play there, to make it a point that unless you at least repeal parts of this law that they enacted, that this will continue. If voting rights are not the primary importance in America in 2021, and if we're continuing having the same fight over civil rights today as we had decades ago, America's not moving forward. And that's the GOP's goal. They think it's the 1950s, but things have changed. What has changed is that communities of color are much more organized, are much more involved in politics. Beyond that, we also have economic clout. And so you see a coalition that is forming of black people, brown people, and white progressives. And this coalition is an amazing, powerful voting bloc. It's also an amazing, powerful economic bloc. So corporations have to have concerns. Why they may not have cared in the past, they have to care today. America's just not changing. America's changed. The GOP is not changing with it. It's going back. It has no policy to help Americans. So what it's doing is going back to its playbook of suppressing the vote of communities that are going to oppose them, primarily black and brown and progressive white people, when they can do that as well. They're not going to win. We're going to win. We're moving forward. As I say every night, if you want progress, stay active. You need any more examples of why we need to stay active? It's because the fight endures. It's never going away because white supremacy endures. That is the original sin of this nation. It was not slavery. Slavery was a manifestation of white supremacy. It was white supremacy that was the original sin of this nation. And today we are still fighting white supremacy, as we see evidenced by the laws in Georgia, those being considered in states from Texas to Arizona to Alaska. I spoke to the Alaska Democratic State Chair today. It's unreal. It's across the nation. So we'll cover this a lot more in my show tonight. My show's live 6 to 9 p.m. on SiriusXM channel 127. If you don't subscribe to SiriusXM, go to the website. Free trials. Check it out. Sign up. Call in. Be a part of our family. If you want progress, stay active.